Greetings, your man, Pastor Jay, with another reflection on devotion. Today we're finishing up Romans chapter 10. And Paul is kind of beginning to wind down his arguments on why we need Jesus and the fact that we're all equal in God's eye. And so he is, in this portion, really dealing with the fact that one, hearing the gospel and confessing the gospel leads one to salvation. And then taking the excuses away from Israel. In verse 14 and 15 it says, "How then will they call on him in whom they have not believed? How will they believe in him whom they have not heard? And how will they hear without a preacher? How will they preach unless they are sent? Just as it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news of good things." And so he's putting the burden of salvation on those who are supposed to be proclaiming the gospel. And so he's saying that, listen, people get to know who Jesus is through our telling of that, our testimonies, the preaching. He's really putting that on them. But he's anticipating the argument that those in the house of Israel, children of Israel, haven't had this opportunity to hear about the gospel. In verse 16 and 17 it says, "However, they did not all heed the good news, for Isaiah says, 'Lord, who has believed our report?'" Verse 17, "So faith comes from hearing, and hearing by the word of Christ." And so he's anticipating the argument that, well, wait a minute, the children of Israel, they didn't hear. Only a small people who were in Jerusalem at the time of Jesus being manifested had the opportunity to know who Christ was. However, he quotes Isaiah in Isaiah's frustration as he shared the gospel. We know that Isaiah is the most Christocentric Old Testament prophet. We know that in Acts, the Ethiopian was reading the account of the lamb being led to slaughter, a foretelling of Jesus Christ's crucifixion, and Stephen goes and shares the gospel out of Isaiah. And Jesus himself said that, you search the scriptures and they are them that tell of me. So Christ is not just in the New Testament, Christ is in the Old Testament. And his prophets were continually trying to get them to understand that salvation is not by works, but by the sacrifice that was to come in their case. And so the rest of the chapter is Paul stripping away the excuses that people may have, saying that they didn't hear the word. But he talks about all the ways that the Old Testament saints had the opportunity to have faith in Christ. Now, they were under another system. They didn't necessarily know Christ the way we understand Christ. But the whole sacrificial system to bring in the lamb to atone for the sins, and the whole Day of Atonement, the sanctuary service, if you do a study of that, you'll get to understand that all these things were precursors to Christ. They all pointed to Christ. Their intention was to give the Old Testament saints a physical example and an active role to play as they showed their faith in the Messiah that was to come. And so the reality is God is just, and no one will have an excuse come Judgment Day on the fact that they aren't saved. They will not have an excuse for that, because everyone has had an opportunity. God has revealed himself in many different ways, and he is a just God, and he wants to save everyone. So he gives everyone the opportunity. I pray that today you will be that preached word. You will have those beautiful feet, and you will go and share the blessings of God with someone, share the love of God with someone, and help them know he is coming back soon. And we all need to get in relationship with him so we can be ready to go. It's your man, Pastor Jay. I pray that you would tune in tomorrow as we jump into Romans chapter 11. He's beginning to wind down his argument, but there's still some good word in this chapter. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.